It's 3 p.m. on April 29, 1945. Above ground, the Soviet army has systematically dismantled the Third Reich, successfully overrunning nearly every major German city. And now, those hostile forces are rapidly closing the final remaining miles, converging directly on Adolf Hitler's physical location beneath Berlin. For the inner circle trapped underground, physical escape is now mathematically impossible. Capture by the Red Army is the only remaining default outcome. Faced with this dead end, Hitler's focus violently narrows from the grand strategy of a world war to the microscopic logistics of a permanent exit. The dictator's first practical step toward this exit is incredibly grim. He decides to test the reliability of his cyanide capsules on his beloved German Shepherd. According to the accounts of his staff, the emotional weight of this specific act was immense, as Hitler reportedly loved this animal more than his own partner. Giving the dog the poison served a dual purpose. It was a complete emotional severing of his last pure bond to the living world, and a cold, scientific trial of the chemicals he intended to use on himself. Executing his pet with such calculated detachment establishes the chilling, methodical tone that would govern every single decision he made over his final hours. The timeline advances to the early hours of the next day, roughly 1 a.m. on April 30th. Deep inside the claustrophobic concrete tunnels of the bunker, Hitler hosts a surreal, morbid gathering for his closest remaining loyalists. Standing before the remnants of his inner circle, the dictator formally announces his irrevocable plan to end his own life. He then introduces the second half of this suicide pact. He and his wife, Eva Braun, will end their lives together at the exact same moment. By making this public declaration to his staff, he effectively locks the plan into place, finalizing his absolute control over the narrative of his death before the incoming army can intervene. As the logistics of the pact are finalized, Eva makes a highly specific, deeply bizarre request regarding her preferred method of death. She outright refuses a gunshot to the head. Driven by an obsession with her physical appearance, she insists she wants to remain beautiful in death, and opts to take the cyanide instead. While Eva is consumed by aesthetic vanity, Hitler is consumed by a mechanical paranoia regarding the certainty of his own end. To eliminate any chance of survival, he engineers an extreme, redundant system, demanding exactly 2 pistols and 2 cyanide capsules be delivered to the room. It is a fail-safe built on cold engineering logic. If a gun's firing pin jams, or if a capsule turns out to be a dud, there is a secondary backup setting on the table to guarantee the outcome. These hyper-specific, neurotic demands show his final priority remained the absolute, unyielding control over the physical mechanics of his demise. The timeline reaches its final moment, roughly 6 p.m. The wait is over, and the countdown hits 0. Hitler and Eva make their final physical retreat, stepping into a single private room and sealing themselves completely inside. The paranoid preparation is finished, and the final fail-safes are activated. The lethal logistics are officially deployed. Executing the plan to the letter, Hitler uses his pistol to shoot himself, while Eva simultaneously consumes the cyanide. Inside that locked room, there is an absolute, controlled silence, creating a stark contrast to the massive, chaotic artillery war tearing Berlin apart just a few meters above their heads. Looking past the bunker to the broader context of the falling Third Reich, the disconnect between the leader and his nation was total. Stripped of the wartime propaganda that often assigns a glorious battlefield end to fallen leaders, the reality of this event is a cowardly, highly methodical retreat from consequence. The man who recently commanded millions of troops and shifted the borders of continents ended his life violently enforcing his will on a few square feet of floor space. When a tyrant loses all external power over the world, his final, desperate act is simply dictating the absolute terms of his own oblivion.